We are John and Ellen McCrary, and we have been members of First Rowlett for 20 years. We in the Agnews are serving as co-chairs on the Now is the Time capital campaign. This is a very exciting time in the life of our church.
Monday, the church voted overwhelmingly to go forward with a building design of a children's education building, a connector, an assembly area, and a youth renovation. We hope to raise over $1.5 million to fund this project. This fall, we'll each be asked to make a 3-year pledge to the capital campaign to fund this activity.
Please pray about what God wants to do through you. We need every member's support. Now is the time at First Rowlett.
We started attending First Rowlett 21 years ago when our girls, Stacy and Stephanie, who were 6th graders at Coyle Middle School, and our son Kevin was a 4th grader at Herforth Elementary. We knew that the girls needed a support group to face the challenges of middle school, so we told them that if they found a friend who attended a church, we would gladly support them in that and attend with them. So they started confirmation in 6th grade, and we joined when they joined when confirmation was over. And now, 21 years later, our granddaughter Maddie is a 6th grader and attending confirmation. And then our 2 granddaughters, Audrey and Nora, also attend every so often with with us or with their other grandparents who are also members at First Rowlett.
In 1999, our daughters were seniors, our son was a sophomore. He started a youth praise band with a couple other guys from the youth. The band was called On Fire. And at that time, they were learning to worship and to sing, and they brought the youth together. In 2000, the youth really took off with the band. I remember coming up here, they practiced in the chapel about 40 hours a week. And I remember coming in one day, and there were kids there that I didn't recognize, and they were from other churches because they wanted to hear the sound because they were involved in their own churches. So I sat and I talked with the guys, and I told them they had a responsibility to be able to do a devotion and a prayer. So then they started doing that. So you'd come up and see them doing these devotionals and prayers. Well, but then the youth was really taken off, and the place was on fire. I mean, the church was just alive for God. So we started a capital campaign to start to build the youth center. Well, we started that, and when we got into it, we got the architectural designs. We got into the part of the raising money. We went to the city to get the permits to start it, and there was something to do with the land for 190 that we would have to sell them the right-of-way, but it would be at a reduced cost. So we decided as a church to be good stewards that we would put that on hold and wait until 190 came through and then sell that directly to the state to get a better return on the land. So then that capital campaign just kind of stopped at that point. Money was raised, that money's put away for now at this time to be able to use. Well, Kevin graduated in 2001 along with the other members of the band. The youth was still going, the capital campaign was going. 3 weeks after graduation, we found out Kevin had a brain tumor. So he was faced to go into surgery, and he was driving down the road, and we told him, Kevin, you pray to God, but you got to stop to listen. So he was driving down Kirby one night talking to God, why am I going through this? And he said there was something in the middle of the road. He went around it. A voice told him to go back and pick it up. When he did, it was a Bible laying in the middle of the road. When he got it home, he opened it up. James chapter 1, verse 2 through 8 were underlined, and 12 was circled. After that, he said, okay, God, it's in your hands. Kevin later, in a couple of weeks later in the summer, was with brain surgery. After his brain surgery, he had to be double radiation treatments a day and chemo every day for 6 weeks. That's where the church came in. The church would offer, take him, pick him up, wait on him, and of course surrounded him in prayer. Everything was going good. In October of 2001, Kevin was faced again with a second brain surgery. Tumor was removed. Again, double radiation, chemo for 6 weeks. The church was there through it all. When we came back from that, Kevin became an assistant Sunday school teacher for kindergarten because he loved kids. He wanted to become an elementary school teacher. So Kevin was working with that, and then in May of 2002, he was received to go as being an intern for Project Transformation. He was really excited about being able to do that. So he went to Project Transformation. Through Project Transformation, he learned to deal with the kids. Well, 3 weeks into that, Kevin again got another tumor. This time the tumors went down his spine. So we took him to the doctor. They found 2 tumors in his upper back, in his spine, so he went into surgery. June 29, 2002, the doctor came in and said they'd taken out the 2 pieces and everything looked good. He was going to go look at the MRI. When he came back, he called Tami and I into a room, and told us they'd never seen anything like this. His spine was totally covered in tumors. We asked him what did that mean. He said at any moment his spine could implode and our son would be gone. So he went in to tell Kevin. And I remember him saying, the doctor told him, and Kevin said, Doc, don't worry about it. God will take care of it. He said, Kevin, you don't understand the seriousness. And he said, no, Doc, God will take care of this. Of course, we get on the phone. We call the church. If you've been to Big Baylor downtown, I remember there's a road that goes through it. We were sitting on the curb, and we were surrounded by church members who laid hands on us and prayed. And they were praying for Kevin. A week later, Kevin walked out of the hospital with one little spot at the top of his neck. On October the 11th of 2002, my son went to live with God. Again, first thing we did was call the church. We were surrounded by this church, by love, prayers, and everything. And I remember right after that, at his celebration of life, sitting in the service of it, and I got up to talk, and I said, you've heard it takes a village to raise a child. I thank God every day that this church was that village, because this church allowed him to worship God the way he did, but also the most important was this church taught him to be a man of God. So this church is our family. Our church did more to that than Tami and I did in raising him. The reason I tell this story is not to glorify Kevin, but to glorify God and what he did in Kevin's life. 100 years ago, a group of people stood on this land and over 100 years prayed for this church. They prayed to build this church and what this church would do. Here we are in 2012, and now is the time to build. Now is the time to do what we said we were going to do in 2000, to give these youth, these children, a place to learn, to know who God is. So it's our responsibility to do this. It's a generational thing. We don't know who that next generation is or who that next child is that we will affect. But now is the time. And if we just let go and let God, it'll be beyond our wildest dreams what he will do for us and Rowlett and future generations.